So actually, something that I go through as a real estate agent is people will come to me, they've got a loan officer that's a cousin or a friend, and the deal becomes catastrophe.
Yeah.
And something that I see for clients is it's so important that they find a loan officer that has inside-out knowledge of the guidelines and can help them structure the deal in advance before they go shopping. So if someone can purchase a property, live in it for a year, and then rent it, what are their down payment requirements for something that they're living in?
It can be as low as 3% if it's a primary residence, if it's their second house, if they want to consider it a second house, and they're going to be, living there, maybe it's a beach house or something, they can do as low as 10%, right?
So a second home, if you're buying, say, an Airbnb at the beach, you can put as little as 10% down.
Exactly.
Just so long as you reside there a certain number of days per year.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, so for if you walk in, if you own a primary and you want to buy just a straight flat out rental, what's the down payment requirements for that?
It's 20% for one unit, and if it's 2 to 4 units, it's 25%.
So when people are looking at investment properties, because I've seen people that they never calculate the payment or the rent in advance. What's the most important thing to know there about cash flow? Like, should your payment, I guess, you always want to know that in advance. You always want rent here, payment here.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. Sometimes I would rather have a higher interest rate and a little bit of a higher payment if it's going to preserve my capital. Because if my return on investment, I always look at my cash on cash investment or cash on cash return. If I'm putting $10,000 today and it's returning me 7%, 8%, I'm happy. As long as I'm meeting that and keeping as much money in my pocket, let's do that. For any deal that we're doing, let's do that. Because of the fact that, like we talked about earlier, right, there's going to be repairs, things will happen.
Well,
Life is going to happen.
I know when you bought your first house, the water heater went immediately.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? And then the last one that we just bought, $5,000 worth of flooring.
Of flooring, and the property sat vacant for
3 months, 4 months, something like that.
December, January, February. Yeah, for 5 months, that property sat vacant.
Right. So things will happen. Stay liquid.
Stay liquid.
Stay liquid as much as you can. And it's tough to do in the real estate investment world, I think.
And I think, too, just the way people live, because dealing with clients, I see no one has any savings.
No.
And,
it's very difficult.
So I think that, I think one of the things I've talked about before is that people really need to learn how to do a budget. You see that you live on a spreadsheet, life on a spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
So that way people always have something put away.
And it's even more important to do that in yours and my world, right? Because we're commission employees. Right. Or not employees, but whatever you want to call it.
Yep. We're commission crazy people.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
We're always working. We're always, in demand, which is a good thing. I hope it stays that way. But if we're not, that spreadsheet will save us, right? Because at the beginning of the year, when I was freaking out about the market was on a downturn, the interest rates were going up, people were slowing down buying houses because it was so cold out, they can't even walk outside. It's terrifying. I thought I was doing the worst I've done all my life in this business. Well, my spreadsheet said differently, and that calmed me down.
Excellent. That's fantastic.
Instead of freaking out and not knowing, I'm able to look back, okay, my year over year is still the same. Calm down.
Yep, there you go.
It's okay.
So basically, at 25 years old, you yourself are an investor. You own 3 rental properties and a primary at 25 years old.
Yeah.
So so real estate obviously has been very good to you.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the safest investments in my opinion. There's so many people that say that it's so risky because you have tenants. It's risky because they're going to up and leave or they're going to damage your property. We were just talking about the Owings Mills property, right? I just had the inspection done to renew the license. It's perfect. It's the way I saw it the first time. It's been 5 years.
So let me ask you, your very first property, remember it was a foreclosure, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo.
Yeah.
And do you remember what you paid for that property?
$135.
And what is it worth today, do you think?
I think about $210.
Exactly. So that's so you've all picked up almost $100,000.
Yeah.
On a property where someone else is sending you money every month.
Yeah.
Life's grand.
Life's grand. And I've made back all the money that I put into it as well. So now it's 100% profit, right?
Yeah, and it's
if you look at it that way.
And a great tax deduction.
Oh, yes. It's beautiful. I love it.
So when you're out looking for your first rental properties, please make sure that you find a great loan officer one with a great deal of experience, one that knows the guidelines inside and out to help you structure this important deal of your life, because real estate really is a girl's best friend. How'd we
Good
do?